Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new Let's Play in Total War Warhammer 3, the Old World campaign mod, as the Empire, and specifically as Elspeth von Draken. Now, before we get into Elspeth and the campaign, which will be a relatively short one, again, like the previous one, I haven't actually done an Empire campaign ever in Warhammer 3. I haven't done one in Warhammer 2 either, I think, as far as YouTube videos are concerned, so I think it's high time. One of the most played and most popular races in the game. Yeah, definitely. So, with that said, let's get to it. First and foremost, I'm running a few mods. Obviously, the Old World Mixer mods are here, as you can see, so this is now playable, and there's a million different regions. This is actually way bigger, and I would say better than the vanilla Immortal Empires, although the downside is it focuses exclusively on the Old World. But the plus side is that everything's much more meaningful, the terrain is a lot more important, mountains, rivers, stuff like that, everything's bigger, and so, yeah, all of that matters. And it makes for longer and more interesting campaigns, I would say, although there is a certain amount of novelty to Immortal Empires, because, for example, you can unify Kislev in 20 to 30 turns, maybe 40, and then spend the rest of the game fighting, who knows, like Dark Elves and Demons and whatever, whereas in a mod like this, you're going to spend, or specifically we're going to spend probably the first 100 turns trying to unify the Empire, or at least somewhat unify a part of the Empire. I doubt we're going to get the whole thing in 100 turns, so yeah. However, there is plenty of novelty here as well. There's different factions littered throughout the Old World. There's, I think, like 400 of them or something in total. So, yeah, quite a bit. Alongside these mods, I am also running unlimited traits for characters, no opinion penalty for too many trade partners, and Run Them Down, which is a mod that makes it so that your troops and enemy troops take more damage when they're retreating or shattered. They don't just take damage out of thin air, they take more damage from enemies attacking them, right? So it's easier to run down enemy troops, and you're not just escorting them off the battlefield gently. It's a very slight improvement. It's not a huge difference, but it is noticeable, and I love that mod. I think it makes the game so much more interesting, because now all of a sudden running enemies down is important and is effective. So, anywho, now, let's get to Elspeth, and I'm going to start the campaign immediately. I'm playing everything on the regular difficulty, campaign, battle difficulty, everything's regular, and that's generally how I prefer to do things. Normal, I think it is, or hard, that's sort of where I lie in between the two. I don't like giving the AI cheats. I don't like the AI having free armies. I don't like having the AI, have a bunch of extra stats like faster reload, more weapon damage, stuff like that. I don't think that's just good. I like the AI to be smart and to, use tactics to beat me rather than cheats. And with this difficulty, the AI doesn't get any advantage in terms of cheats, but it does use its full potential when it comes to making decisions, moving, trying to dodge spells, stuff like that. I like all of that, don't like cheats. However, I also try and counter that by playing a little bit more roleplay heavy, trying to have sensible armies instead of overpowered armies, trying to, make decisions based on roleplay, realism, lore. Sorry about that, itchy nose. Things like that, rather than just doing the optimal thing all the time. Although, as usual, when it comes to siege battles, I will,
To die is to find eternal sanctuary.
I'll cheese a little bit, at least the siege towers. Or enemy towers.
The horrors of this land. But to study death, to know its secrets, is to venture down a path that few dare tread. Atop her blackened tower, the graveyard rose, Elspeth von Draken fights to protect the fallen, driving back the forces of evil. A perennial guardian of the Empire.
Beneath death's shadow, our enemies fall. The enemies of Wissenland shall embrace their mortality.
Whoops, muted myself accidentally. And here we are, in Altstadt. Altstadt, I think. Anywho, the province of Nuln, and we already start off with some problems. Namely, there's a whole heap of vampires outside our gates, and we need to get rid of them. Which will unlock the field prototype coat mark something something. Rather interesting. This is the army that we start off with. It's some spearmen, swordsmen, Nuln Ironsides, and handgunners, along with great cannons and a Hellstorm rocket battery. Very powerful army to begin with, especially because of the artillery. As far as the lore behind Elspeth von Draken herself, you have a somewhat lengthy description when you begin the campaign, and you've seen enough from the, I think, intro cinematic or beginning cinematic, whatever you want to call it, that I think you can get a feel for her character based on that. One of the rare characters that has a detailed, in-depth cinematic like that. Not all of them do in Warhammer 3, but regardless. What's our big thing here, right? In terms of the faction, we get bonus research, access to the Imperial Gunnery School, which we will take a look at in a minute, less upkeep for gunnery units, and double the experience for artillery and gunnery units. What does that mean? Well, that means, first of all, that we're pretty much exclusively going to be relying on Hochland and Nuln Ironsides, Hochland rifles and Nuln Ironsides for our range damage. Archers are pretty much not going to be a thing. I may, later down the line, recruit a Huntsman unit with a Huntsman General and, you know, some troops like that, just for some novelty, difference in gameplay and stuff, which the Empire really does excel at, giving you different flavors of the same 4 units. Okay, not really, but kind of, right? Your frontal infantry, your melee, and then, you know, your artillery, and then your ranged units. There's different flavors of each. Spearmen, swordsmen, great swords, handgunners, Nuln Ironsides, Hochland long rifles, and different types of artillery as well. And of course the steam tanks, we mustn't forget the steam tanks, but we will get into that later. Bonus technology, you say? Yes, we are slightly faster at researching everything, pretty much the entire tech tree, which is good. I like that. We also have the Dark Lady of Nuln special tree down here, which Gardens of more fast travel costs less, 30% less, pretty good. Advisor to Nuln, schematics gained post-battle, 15% for all armies. This is great. Imperial colleges with bonuses for pretty much the 4 different heroes. That's all good. What I like immediately is to go for grain silos. Although movement speed is also important, but grain silos gives you growth, and you need a ton of growth as the Empire and to set up a really, really big economy. I don't want to upgrade this to level 2, because I don't really need handgunners yet.
Dark Lady of Nuln.
Yeah, not really, right? I think I'm going to rely on spearmen more so than anything else. But let's take a look at the Imperial Gunnery School, because I've never played as Hochland before, or sorry, as Nuln before, so let's take a look. Imperial Gunnery offers special upgrades. I've read as much. Clicking on a unit, well, I'm assuming this is like a forbidden workshop for the Skaven. Right, it lists the units that'll get the upgrade, and then I choose which one, and then I upgrade it with schematics, and I get schematics from battles. The requirements to increase the Gunnery School tier. Right. And then there's the Amethyst Armory. but that requires tier 2. Okay. Ah, right, tier 1, tier 3, depends on the upgrades. It's mostly tier 1 and tier 3. I'm not seeing many tier 2 things. Fair enough. I'm assuming that's sort of behind the armory. Okay. Missile strength, missile radius, monstrous impact, pretty good. Steam tank gets more power. It's an ability, it's not always there, but okay. Hellstorm rocket battery, an additional projectile. So it's additional. It's 4 additional projectiles technically, right? Because it's for each of the units, and then gain another one, and then an ammunition and another one. Okay, pretty good, meaningful upgrades. Not ridiculously overpowered, but meaningful upgrades.
Lady of
Let's go and do our first battle, I think. And they have not decided to run away, even though that's kind of what I would do. Given the option, but 5 minutes in, you know. Lengthier intro, but I think you're used to those when it comes to my Let's Plays, and besides, I've never played as Elspeth. I've played as the Empire in my own time. A couple of times, but never for YouTube, and, you know, it's high time, I feel like. So, I didn't see any of the Empire mechanics. Do we have those? I didn't pay attention. I'm going to check after this battle. I wonder if we do, because it's one of the things that... I mean, I like the new Empire mechanics, don't get me wrong. I think they're pretty sweet. I don't think they're bad at all. I think they're way better executed than the previous Empire mechanics. I like the upgrade. But it gets a bit samey, right? It gets a bit... maybe not boring, maybe that's not the word, but... yeah, I'm gonna use it anyway. It gets a little bit boring, I think, after a while, because you end up not really thinking about different ways to play a campaign. It sort of boils down to the same thing because of those mechanics, because you want to save the Empire. And, sorry about that. And when playing as the Empire, I mean, specifically when playing as Karl Franz, what else are you gonna do, right? Granted, okay, but at the same time, if you want some flavor in your life and you wanna, you know, try different things, then maybe it's not the best thing ever. Because you're really driven into doing kind of the same thing over and over again. Okay, I want to hit the crypt horrors with the great cannons, and we're going to use rocket artillery to hit the enemy infantry and just soften them up. Okay, I think we can deploy like this, so these guys can get better shots, even though they can shoot. I mean, I've picked nice terrain that can shoot over the heads of the infantry, but you know how it is. Right, let's put some shots there. Long rifles are going to do their thing. I'm going to also see what I have magic-wise. That's a little bit helpful. It's not the most helpful thing in the world, but it's a little bit helpful.
The Dark Lady of Nome.
Okay, I'm going to get you to shoot them.
Elspeth von Draken. Shadows at my...
It's going to be a slight problem. Okay, let's get the artillery to land the shot over here if we can. And the cannons are still firing at the crypt horrors. Oof, not at my own men. Okay, time to stop it with the rocket batteries. They've done 17,000 damage. That is more than enough. They've done their share. Now it's the gunnery's turn. And yeah, we've broken the crypt horrors. They're the most dangerous unit. The rest can, you know. Couple of more shots. I now want to focus on the enemy lord. cast the other spell on him as well. Target him with everything we've got. Do you think maybe I can... Oh yeah. Yes I can. Yes I can. That was nice. The battle right there, because they all crumble away as soon as you defeat them. Fortunately, we took somewhat heavier casualties on this swordsman unit, which I wish we didn't. Everything else is perfect, just this swordsman unit got a little bit... yeah. Anywho, there we go. Now, the big question, nearly forgot about it again already. Empire mechanics. Do I suffer instability if the Empire's, well, to put it politely, getting its arse handed to it like it usually is, from the forces of chaos, corruption, destruction, and all those evil things? And Bretonnians, sometimes, which I would argue is all that put together, but being, you know, basically fantasy French, but anywho. Yes. Alright. Fine. So, a couple of options. One is experience. The other one is treasury, and this one is praise Sigma. You know what, we're going to praise Sigma. Because the extra 300 is not going to make or break anything. Especially because I'm not doing any construction. At least not yet.
Amethyst Mage.
And it will make the future battle or two a little bit easier. I'm going to go with Inspiring Presence.
I must study this.
Increase mobility. Actually, no. It doesn't matter for this one, because Survivalist is the other tree, so yeah. Generally speaking, you want to leave it for the second trait to be mobility, because it doesn't start until the next turn, and I'm going to have another battle, and I'm probably going to level up from this battle, because it's a settlement siege as well. So that's the only reason. I'm going to fight these manually, and the reason is, if I auto-resolve, I'm going to take too much damage. Even though it says decisive victory, I'm still going to take too much damage, because the auto-resolve doesn't know how to use artillery properly. Wow, Dragonaut, neither do you. Look, I'm not the greatest player of this game, but I do have some 500 hours, I think, in Warhammer 3, and God knows, like a couple of thousand, maybe, or 1,000, 2,000-ish in Warhammer 2. And in all those hours, you haven't learned how to play the game. I haven't learned how to cheese the game. I've learned the mechanics of the game, and I've learned to make roleplay armies, and I've learned to have fun in the game. And I've played on normal difficulty and hard difficulty. Never really dabbled into Legendary, because I don't care much for it. Different strokes for different folks, right? Different style of content, if you will. And so, yeah, that's sort of the situation. Let's see, range. We are well within range. So much so that I might want to pull back a little bit. Yeah, this'll do. Technically, it would be a little bit better for me to...
We will cut our foes asunder. It is time we ushered them over the threshold unto death.
Indeed. Technically, it would be better for me to go to max range for my artillery, give them more time to do more damage, but this isn't a particularly challenging battle anyway, so, you know. Ooh, this should be a good strike. Oh, it missed. It landed most at the back of that. There's 3 units there you could have hit. It's a shame. It's a crying shame, that is. Start using some of our magics. What do we get? Potion of Foolhardiness. Honestly, pretty terrible. I want to get in position to counter the dire wolves. Which I'm going to use Elspeth to do that as well. Okay. Really quickly, target the bats, because they're going to be a pain to deal with. Okay. Stop. Too late already. Let's drop you down here. Tighten ranks, as they say.
Ready for war. Engineer. Marching. All ranks, fire!
What the hell are you doing?
Now! For the ring of steel.
That was...
Spearmen, I have a plan. Ready? Sigma call. Cannons, fire! Yes, my lord.
Do you reckon you could get off one more volley right there?
Sigma guides us. The Empire endures.
No?
To battle. Take the ground.
Okay.
Quick march for the twin-tailed comet. Soldiers of the Empire, now! Hellstorm.
Get my rockets out of there. Can we get them out of there? Yes, we can.
Ready to fire.
Not here, though. They're bleeding through the ranks somehow. Absolute bastards. We can get them with guns, though.
Soldiers of the Empire.
You, if you don't have, like, clear shots into the... whatever that unit there is, then I don't know who does.
By Ulrich's wrath, the Empire endures. Don't let the zombies bite.
Elspeth von Draken.
Okay,
Handgunners,
that's helpful. How do we go about this now?
ready.
I think... okay, a bit high, so a little bit lower than that.
Heinrich just got back up.
I want to do it manually, because if I let them shoot themselves, I think they're going to end up doing something stupid, but let's try it.
Gunners, swordsmen, soldiers of the Empire. By Ulrich's wrath,
Honestly, worth it?
go!
Yeah, kind of worth it. Okay.
Our weapons are yours. Take
Cool.
position. Handgun.
There you go. Casualties, great, honestly. Pretty great. Way better than what the AI would do. In fact, that's one thing that I kind of dislike about some of the lower difficulty levels. And I count normal as being one of the lower difficulty levels. On hard, it's not a big difference either, honestly. It's only when on very hard and legendary that this stops being an issue, but the AI does really well in auto-resolve, that oftentimes for newer players, they get into a sort of trap where they're like, oh, I'm never going to play a manual battle again because the AI just does so much better in auto-resolve and I don't want to lose. And you're not playing your battles manually, which means you're not gaining experience as a player, and you're not learning how to micromanage all your units, and then you end up relying on the auto-resolve too much, to the point where you get a fight where the auto-resolve can't win, but a half-decent player would be able to win. You can't win that battle because you haven't, you don't have the practice in the easier battles. And yeah, it's I mean, it's an issue. To an extent, for it's like a player trap, if you will, to some extent. I think Legend War talks about it, or talked about it at some point.
For Verena and Nuln.
Okay. Well, how do I go about this? The good thing, right, is I'm taking Empire regions. And I'm going to keep taking Empire regions for a while. And that's awesome. And I have my sort of route of expansion down here into more Empire regions. That's awesome. The not so great thing... Yeah, Empire secessions, they're not long for this world. Okay, let's think about it like this. The other good thing is I don't have the elect accounts mechanic. Honestly, good things and bad things from that. Good thing, I don't have to worry about federations. I can federate normally, or I can confederate normally with anyone, which is pretty awesome. On the other hand, no bonuses, no state troops, nothing like that.
Lady of Shaiish.
Or I do have state troops, but they're locked behind technology. Honestly, I kind of prefer them being locked behind technology, to be brutally honest with you. Yeah.
We are the strength of the Empire. Weaving weapon and
Now,
magic
what do I
is
want
the
to
surest
recruit?
path to victory.
Free company militia just for a few turns? You know what, I'll get 2 of them because it's a unit I basically never use. And it'll be kind of fun to use it, maybe. But that's about it. I don't want to upgrade this, I want to get rid of it. But I'm recruiting this unit, so I'm not going to get rid of it immediately. I want to build this building here, because a building does go up to tier 3, you build it in the smaller settlements. The bigger buildings, obviously, you build in the bigger settlements. So, that's what I'm going to be doing, and I will try and take it a little bit more slowly as the Empire, because it's one of the factions that most newer players tend to pick. It seems easiest and most familiar with, you know, human units and stuff, and there's a logic behind it, but the Empire's tricky. The Empire's strategically sort of in the middle of everything, and that's good because it's fun. You get to fight, you know, we have Skaven to the north, vampires to the south, ogres to the west, and elves to the east, and, oh, actually, the other way around. Ogres to the east, and elves to the west, and it's awesome, right? Variety of enemies and all that good stuff. At the same time, it's enemies, you know, everywhere. And most of the Empire states, which are generally going to be neutral towards you, or at the very least not openly hostile, they tend to get beaten very, very often. They will just lose, right? They will just lose all their territory and be replaced by, you know, Chaos, Nurgle, Slanesh, Gorn.
My rivals quake before me.
Yet more trees and wood elves from this general area, which are... Good, Riker. She's a birch. Anywho, that was my one she's a birch joke for the rest of the Let's Play, I swear to you.
I refuse.
All of that aside, though, like I said,
Wielder of the pale
it's
sky.
a challenge. It's a challenge,
For Verena and Nuln.
and... Construct a library, purchase a unit upgrade in the gunnery school. I do want to purchase a unit upgrade. I'm going to need 350, so a little bit more in the way of schematics, and we can get even better gunners.
Von Draken.
Good.
Amethyst
Let's get survivalist up, and then this is sort of the most important line to go down. But like as I was
of the dragon in Carmine.
saying a minute ago,
Amethyst
I'll try and take things a little bit more slowly, try and explain everything I'm doing, just in case there's some newer people watching or people that have never played the game and want to, you know, follow along. To that extent, where do we attack next? This is a brave choice, but the garrison's massive. However,
Wielder of the pale side.
however, Okay, they're not recruiting troops. If they were recruiting troops, I would attack, but they're not. I want to get this first, get the upgrade, and then go after the city. So let's fight this manually as well. Strategically, the Empire is in a bit of a pickle. And it's kind of difficult to focus on a particular front. Say, now we're fighting the vampires, right? It's the first enemy that's thrown at you, and okay, it's pretty simple, right? We just beat them and that's it. But where do you go afterwards? On the one hand, the Empire is burning, right? And because of the Empire stability mechanics, where as many regions that you don't control, or the Empire culture doesn't control, you get, you know, negative modifiers for each and every one of them. Up to a percentage, right? You don't need to control the entirety of the Empire, but the fewer you control, the worse off you are. I think I explained that made that a little bit more complicated than it had to be, but you get the idea. Because of that, you kind of want to be aggressive, but at the same time, the situation you're in politically kind of doesn't really work with aggression. I mean, sure, you can be aggressive, but you're also prone to being backstabbed occasionally by the Wood Elves, by people around you, by some orcs taking over Bretonnia, by, you know, also all manner of things. And that's a problem. And in fact, that's a pretty big problem for the Empire. So much so to the point that oftentimes you don't really know how to handle it. And, well, I'll see if I can give you some pointers strategically, even though, to be brutally honest with you, I'm not the greatest strategist when it comes to the Empire tactics. My favourite Total War factions are generally ones that start in the corner of the map somewhere, or an edge of the map, because then, you know, you have your back to the end of the world and you just go forward and it's not really that easy to backstab you. Whereas factions that tend to be like the Empire tend to be in the middle of everything, it requires a lot of proactive diplomacy. And you know how the AI is with diplomacy. It's Geneva Conventions, Geneva Suggestions sort of thing. They really... They have a lot of anti-player bias, shall we say. Simple as that. And it's not ideal. Okay, so I probably shouldn't be doing this with the Free Company, but I wanted to try a slightly different approach. Where's my gunners? Over here. Gunners can stay over here. You're going to shoot at the zombies. I need you to shoot at the dire wolves as soon as they get into range, because they're the most dangerous enemy. They can run you down. The rest of the undead are really slow. And, wonder if hitting the bats is going to be any... Okay, they are crumbling. They're pretty much dead. How do I protect the rocket battery? I can't, like, not really, right? Yeah, not really going to be able to do that. Cast a spell on them. And then just use all of the infantry to crush the Fellbats quickly as possible. Okay, there we go, that's what I wanted. This is also kind of what I wanted, to be honest with you. Okay, let's not pause so much. These guys are going to do a combination of two types of attack. Okay, very quickly. Gonna need you to spread out. Protect the rocket artillery. Okay, that's beautiful. We have shots on the side. We have shots on the side over here. Just need to move these two out of the way to make sure they don't get caught by the skeleton warriors, which they will. But hopefully I can catch them with my own guys over here. And even if they get caught for a little bit, it's not the end of the world. And we have rockets to the back of the enemy line over there. I mean, honestly, this is going pretty gosh darn well. With shots to the side and everything. Oh yeah.
Swordsman, Sigmar calls. We are Sigmar's heirs. We serve.
Okay, you can stop shooting. You can stop shooting as well. No, stop. Okay.
We serve.
There you go. Crossfire, see? That's what we want to do. Minimal losses, a decisive victory, and most importantly, another settlement. Now, am I going to regret not going for the big city immediately? Maybe. Apologies for the silence. One, I got a work-related message. Two, I am genuinely thinking about how do I deal with that bigger city, because I have cannons and rocket artillery. That's amazing, right? That's like, I don't want to toot my own horn and get overly brave and, you know, say too many things and then get slapped in the face. But I think that's genuinely like half that settlement's garrison gone with just those two units. We take out 2 towers, and this thing is history. The problem is they might recruit more men, and I didn't go immediately for it. You know.
Magistrix.
Not ideal, let's just say. On the other hand, I could go with some ogre bulls. Anti-infantry ogre charge. You know what? I'm going to recruit some ogre bulls.
I call upon your might.
Anti-infantry, they're going to be great against vampires. And probably later down the line as well. Most factions rely on just basic, humble infantry units in one way or another.
Amethyst mage.
Yeah. And now, I think there's no two ways about it. We have to go with Pistol Corps and Imperial Gunnery. I mean, it's what the entire faction is based on. The death magic thing is good, but we're going to get it through here as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Imperial Gunnery first of all.
This belongs in my
Plus, I
archives.
tend to go with magic for spellcasters first and then everything else.
Is the surest
Let's switch
path
things up a little bit. Let's get unit buffs instead.
Amethyst Guardian.
And that's all my recruitment for this turn, honestly. Okay, the most optimal thing to do would be to not recruit ogre bulls now, recruit them next turn. Because I don't need them right now, I'm going to need them next turn. That's 1 turn of upkeep for this unit saved up. 163. Honestly, I don't care. At this point, honestly, I don't care. It's not significant enough. I'm going to go with growth, because, well, I think it's previously been established. Growth is incredibly important for the Empire and for all factions in general. Think of Nurgle, for example. It's all important for Nurgle, but other factions too. Empire, though, because of our economy, which is expensive. It doesn't take as long to get going as Kislev. It's not particularly complicated. It's just expensive, because all the buildings are expensive, and you keep needing to sink more and more money into settlements, that it's sort of like, you know, It's a bottomless pit, but yet the economy isn't bad. It's just like it keeps sucking away all the income that you get at the end of the turn in order to keep up. halfway through, you realize, hold on, I have no money to actually recruit stuff with now. And yeah, you don't. Okay, now if they haven't recruited any units here, I think now we go for it, because I've... Oh yeah, I mean, they haven't recruited a unit yet anyway. We can go for this first.
Amethyst Guardian.
There's no reason not to, it's an easier battle. Nah, let's go for the big prize just in case they, you know, run away or something. And yep, I know, the screen says valiant defeat, but we've got this, don't worry. Don't you worry, we absolutely have this. And that will be the next episode, the Siege of Wissenberg. I have a tactic in mind, I have a great plan, I have many schemes, yes, we're going to go about this siege like a Skaven warlord, using cunning and tactics. But that is for next time. Ladies and gentlemen, please do remember to like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video and want to stay tuned with the rest of the series and the rest of the content that I produce on this channel. If you have any suggestions or questions about the run, the campaign or anything, feel free to ask me down in the comments below, or to make them down in the comments below. Suggestions, I mean. And yeah, that's about it. I will see you next time when we try and kick the vampires out of Wissenberg. Until then, have fun, take care, and bye-bye.